Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists, and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Aloha, everyone. It is Leah Riley here.
Hello, it's Megan.
Hi there, it's Amy.
I'm outside because it is currently 90. I just checked. It's 94 degrees where I am.
Nope. Just say no.
That's so crazy.
Which is like, if you're in Celsius, like we're probably pushing like 38. Probably like 38 degrees Celsius.
That is wild.
Meanwhile, it is 33 degrees Fahrenheit here.
Right, same.
It's cold. It's like we hit another cold snap. It is so cold.
So
it's not meant to be hot like this. Like, just to be clear, like I know it's California, right. But
no,
this is
but
not
you don't get that hot.
Yeah.
It should be like 55.
Yeah, it's 34 degrees Fahrenheit for me. It's going to be in the mid 60s by Saturday. It was on Monday 8 degrees. So I mean it's fucked. Like the climate is
Are we
fucked.
on a similar latitude, Amy?
I think so.
I think
so because we
are.
have pretty similar weather.
Aren't you kind of just over?
I think I do. I do think so. I think I'm just west of you.
I was going to say, I feel like we're we do often get the same weather. I notice I feel like sometimes we even get the same storm systems, which is interesting.
Yes, I do think that as well.
Yeah. You probably get them.
I know, right? Same weather. So
we're
cute.
Like little weather buddies, and then you're just the odd one out with your nice
well, I mean,
I guess sun.
The problem is that it means that everything's drying up like a little raisin, and I'm anticipating a horrific fire season.
Yeah, that's not good.
In this administration, what could go wrong? I'm sure there'll be so much federal government support for California, right?
Fantastic. Mm-hmm.
So if you live in this state, make sure you prep, make sure you have your food. Do not rely on others to help you.
Well, isn't Gavin Newsom president?
Oh, allegedly so.
Right. So maybe we're all good.
Hoi, 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 hoi. Coming at you from United States of America in 2026.
Right.
If you are listening anywhere else, let me tell you, it's what it looks like on the outside.
It's worse. It's worse. Yeah. It's worse if you're here. Okay. So something that's not worse. I wanted to tell you a short little story that happened to me today. That hopefully mothers and other caretakers can relate. So I have a daughter who's in college. In her second year in college, she lives on her own in an apartment. She's with a roommate. And I, like, as mothers, caretakers do, I worry all the time, right, about my kids. But she has proven to be a very responsible adult, able to take care of herself. And I worry less and less all the time. Also, I have Life 360 and I can see where she is at any given moment. So I went into my office today and she texts me, can I call you in a little bit? And already my stomach sank, right? I said, yeah, I'm in the office. Is it anything? Is it okay for me to talk about it in my cubicle? Cause I don't have any privacy at the office. And she's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. So she calls me and she's like, so I'm in a little bit of a pickle.
Oh.
She's like, I was at the union last night for rehearsal. She's in an a cappella group. And she's like, I fell down the stairs. She's like, well, the last 2 stairs, just the last 2. Mind you, this is coming her first year of school last year. She fell up the stairs in her dorm and split her knee open. So this kid should not be allowed on stairs.
Right,
basically is what it is.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And she's like, I felt something go really wrong in my ankle.
Oh.
She said, but then I got up and it felt okay. I was like, all right. She's like, then I woke up this morning and I can't put any weight on it. And I said, and you want me to tell you what to do? She's like, kinda. I said, you need to go to urgent care. Like, you need to get it checked out or x-rayed or whatever. And I said, I wouldn't recommend the student health center because I don't think that they are going to deal with like bigger injuries. You know what I mean? So she looked online and found, urgent care that was, like hospital owned or whatever. And I said, well, how are you going to get there? I said, do you need me to drive up to school right now? And she's like, no, 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 I'll take an Uber. I'm like, you're not taking an Uber in a compromised position. I said, you maybe a Lyft, because Lyft has female drivers that you can request. But her roommate has a car, but her roommate was out all day, like classes and stuff. And she's like, I don't know if I text Victoria, if she'll get it. And I don't know if I should make an appointment. Long story short, I'm like, please reach out to her, see if she can take you. And if so, make an appointment. If not, I'm hopping in the car and coming up there. Her school's 90 minutes away. Only thing is she needs to be at school tomorrow for her last day of in-person classes before spring break. And she has rehearsal again tomorrow night. So if I drove up there, I would be driving up there, taking her to urgent care, driving home, then driving back up there at 9:30 tomorrow night to pick her up from rehearsal and go back home. Luckily, her roommate was able to take her, which is great because they were at urgent care for like 2 hours because, that's how it goes. And she sprained it and she's in a boot. But like the moral of the story is that even when they're all grown up in a way, they still need their mommy.
Yeah. Aw.
She knew what she had to do, but she wanted mommy to tell her first.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope that my kids always call me when they need me, no matter how old they are. I mean, I feel like I'm the same way. I still want to call my mom when I'm sick.
I definitely do. I want to call my mom and I want to bitch and whine and I don't. It's not like she can solve it because like if
No.
I have a cold, like you know what I mean.
Right.
Like if I have a sinus infection, I just want to call her and whine and just because like no one else wants to listen to your mom doesn't even want to listen to you whine,
But she
like,
will.
But like
That's the
she
thing.
will.
Yes.
Like my mom will. She will sit and listen to me whine, and she'll be like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, hun. Like she'll like feed into like me being a baby and no one else is going to do that. Like Neil doesn't want to listen to me do that. Like this is a uniquely mom thing for
Right.
me.
Well, right.
And
not
so
everybody
I get it.
out there has a mom. And so I know,
Right.
but I do
know.
think all of us do have that one, whether it's a caregiver or that one relative or a close friend or whatever, who will be that person who you can call when you're like, I probably should go to the doctor, but you tell me first.
Right, like maybe it's a dad for some people, or maybe it's like a cousin.
I think it's you guys for me.
Oh, we're that. When we
That's what I
even,
said. It could be a friend. It could.
you can whine to us.
If I call my mom, she is going to most likely, like, she's a nurse, and 9 times out of 10, she's like, put some chewing gum on it, and like, like it's basically like
Put some
whatever.
Windex on it.
Yeah, spray some Windex. Like, I don't want to. Yeah. The idea of whining to my mom is inconceivable to me.
Okay.
I
But
totally
you can whine to us?
to my mom. Yeah.
Yeah, and whining to Nick is going to be met with like, when you have partners sometimes and it's like, I don't feel good, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm not feeling good either,
and then the man cold sets in. Yeah,
and then the man, so I feel like that nobody cares. So I feel like you both get pretty good sympathy. I don't feel like I'm like a huge whiner, but I feel like
but no, if you need to rant, or actually, I love when you're like, hey, I need to rant about something. I'm like, great, I'm sad.
Leah rant is always a lot of fun.
A Leah rant is always good.
When I got pregnant, the first person I called was Megan.
You did. Actually, I do remember that.
And it was because I knew you wouldn't judge me for the fact that I wasn't happy.
No,
I was having a hard time grappling, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was like, I can't call if I call anybody else, they're going to be like, make this be good news. And right now I need to feel like, of course, it doesn't need to be said. This was a wanted pregnancy in the end. I love my baby. But when I found out, I was just crying fuck over and over in not a happy way. And I was like, if I call Megan's going to be like, I get it. Like, I would be unhappy too. And I remember you were like, oh yeah, this would make me very upset.
I was like, oh fuck, I don't, I feel you. You can cry. I feel
you've got, especially like, cause you were right at the point where like your kids were both about school age, right?
Yeah, I had gotten my younger one off to kindergarten, and I was really on a 2-kid plan, and was like, I lined up book deal. I had like 3 or 4 book deals lined up. I was like, my kid has gone to school. I have time. I'm a vomiter for pregnancy. Like, it's just like, I knew what it was. I knew what was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had to just sit with it. So again, I'm not going to, if anyone ever needs to have something normalized like that, you can DM me and I will be like, I will validate that feeling for you. But yeah. And that being said, tomorrow is BTS comeback. And I want to just share before we pivot, like I told both of you, I have a friend who is, I met through like Army Twitter, and we connected in Seoul. She was like super lovely. I'm not going to like name her, but she took to Twitter today and was like, I've been feeling sick for a couple of days and I think I might be pregnant. And like, I don't know what to do with that. I guess I'm fine if I am. I'm fine if I'm not. I don't know. This was not a
Does she
planned
have
thing.
other children?
No.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's like, yeah, and I mean, she's not young, but she's not like, she's like, whatever. So she was just like, I went to the doctor. They were like, yeah, these symptoms could be pregnant. Like, let's get you to pee on a stick. And she was like, I don't want to pee on a stick before comeback. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that knowledge. I don't want that lore before comeback. Just give me a blood test. Cause she's like, if you do a blood test, they're like, well, I guess if you do a blood test, you'll know by like Monday. And she was like, great, give me that blood
Perfect
test.
timing.
Don't mess up my comeback. Like, I don't want to know. Just like, and I was like that. I just wrote to both of you. I was like, when I read that, I was like, relatable.
Right.
Like,
Right?
yeah, it was just, yeah, I laughed so hard when I saw it though. I was like, we are an unhinged group of people sometimes. But I would have been like,
I
yeah,
love it.
I get that. That makes logical sense to me. I'm like, if you're pregnant, you've got months and months to figure out what the fuck. And if there's only one comeback.
Yeah.
Right.
Just enjoy the comeback.
Focus on what's happening right now.
Yeah. She was like,
Nothing's
I took a
changing
lot
right
to it.
now. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to do anything over the next 3 days. So just wait till Monday. Deal with it
wait.
then.
Wait, Adi long. So
It's very funny.
So I guess let's see. But if she does have a baby, that baby will be new to the world.
Oh God.
And we're talking today about when you're new to things, like not the world in this case, but K-dramas.
That was like a mid segue, I'd say.
It was.
It's not our best work.
No.
But
it was work nonetheless.
yeah.
It was words in a sentence.
It was. It was.
And
Yeah.
I just realized that the tone of this podcast now is very much like geared towards like, anyone can listen to it, of course, but it is very much geared towards like some folks who might be newer, which means this might be the first time they've engaged with us, which at this point they might be like, maybe I need to click out.
Maybe they're already gone. They're already gone. We do have chapter settings if you listen like on YouTube, or I think they might be...
If you're on the pod, you're not. If you're just audio, no.
Yeah, that's true.
Nope, that's true. Yeah,
but we thought we'd do kind of like a K-dramas for beginners episode. I don't think we've done this, and it kind of seems like a no-brainer episode that we should have done already. But I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of list different genres and then talk to you about beginner K-dramas that we think work well. So if you like this, then these are the kind of like beginner level K-dramas we recommend that we maybe think have like universal appeal, are just really good. I mean, we'll explain when we
encapsulate the genre well. And
Yeah.
you know what? Actually, I think this is good for who, you know what, listeners, no shade here. I know you're a judgy group and I love you for it. And so you can listen to this and you can judge. This is a gift to you to be like, I think you're wrong on this. I would do this. I want to hear that. I want to hear you listen and I want to hear you judge. And also you might be like, hey, I haven't tried a horror. And so hit me with some recs. So I'm going to reframe. I don't think it has to just be for beginners.
No,
but
right.
That's our frame. Just let us have our clickbait. Okay. Let us have our clickbait.
I mean, yeah, it works for beginners, but also, right, if there's a genre that you haven't branched out into yet, then maybe something we recommend will tempt your fancy.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, so, I mean, we've talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating because it obviously goes with the theme of today's show, is how we got started watching K-dramas. Because somebody had to recommend something to us, right?
Sure did.
And it was like a trickle-down effect because, Leah, you got the recommendation for Crash Landing on You, and then you gave it to me, and then I gave it to Megan.
Yep.
And so we all started with the same. Well, you two had already watched Meteor Garden.
So I will say that. So Leah and I had gone off the deep end and watched Meteor Garden, which completely
Which is a Chinese drama. A Chinese
Right.
drama.
It's the Chinese version of Boys Over Flowers.
Right.
Okay. It is like 60 episodes. Okay. I did nothing but watch this drama for a solid week and a half. Like that is, I think my kids were little. My kids were like,
This was like
very
this is
little.
like a couple years before
Like
we started K-dramas.
2018,
Yeah.
2018-ish.
Yeah. So my kids were very little. And I remember, I just remember being like, this is like the amount of tropes that I was given. It felt like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Unwrapping trope after trope after trope every episode.
And I don't know how, I will say, I can remember being wrecked, Crash Landing on You very clearly. I have no memory to how I stumbled into Meteor Garden.
Me either. How? Like how
So
did it
yeah,
happen?
which one of you did it first?
Me.
Okay.
I think it was Leah, yes. And then she told me to watch it, and I did.
I was like, it's got every trope that's ever existed in one drama. Like every single trope. Like,
Well,
I
it's
think
on
you
Netflix, right?
Yeah,
it was
I
on
mean,
Netflix.
And weren't you watching other foreign language stuff at
well,
the
that was the Crash Landing
Oh,
on
that
You,
was
but
Crash Landing.
like,
Okay.
COVID, I was watching like Swedish noir at that point. Like I was just like, I don't know, hit
Oh.
me with stuff. So I'd gotten like deep into like, yeah, I was watching a lot of like darker Scandinavian shows. And then, yeah, when somebody was just like, what a, it was our writer
It
friend
was
Chanel.
Chanel. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this, Chanel Cleaton is a very good author. I recommend all her books, historical fiction writer. But she was like North Korea, South Korea. And I was like, say less, I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you recommended it to me.
Yep.
And I'd never watched Meteor Garden. I'd never watched anything foreign as far as like television. I'd watched like foreign films before, but not like whole TV series. And so I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And Leo's just like, just trust me. And I did, because it was COVID and I had watched every English speaking thing that I wanted to watch twice, probably. And so I didn't know what the hell I was getting into. I think I remember texting you being like, is she really paragliding into a tornado? Like,
yes,
there
she
a
is.
cow? Like, did a cow go by? Yes, it did.
yes.
And it reminded me, I guess it gave me a little bit of, because Meteor Garden had so many tropes thrown into, and I mean, truly, it is wild how many tropes, like, it is wild how many tropes are in Meteor Garden.
It has
But,
everything.
I would think I was kind of like primed for like, oh, this feels really trope. But then that's when it became, this feels less like a gift box of tropes. And this just feels like I'm watching how a romance novel is written.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of shook me. It was like, oh, this feels like I hadn't had that experience of watching a show that was like reading a book.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me, is Crash Landing felt like I was reading a romance book. And in a way, I just feel like romance had for so long, when I was like watching a show, had taken a back seat, or it just didn't do it for me. There was like multiple reasons, but maybe it was, well, first of all, usually we were only getting like rom-com movies as well.
Right.
We
Not
weren't
like
getting,
series
like-
that are just based on and like
Yeah.
limited series.
Yeah. And so to get 16-hour-long episodes of a show where the romance is the main focus, the romance is treated with respect, there is yearning, there is incredible conflict, there's tropes. To get that, I remember saying to you guys, I can't believe this is a thing. I
Yes.
can't believe that we can
Yes.
actually get this. Why wasn't I informed sooner? Like, it just felt like there was this whole like world that had been like opened up to me, that I could now watch how I want to read, basically.
I don't remember in my history of watching television, I don't remember anything that would make me stay up until 2 a.m. binging like just
No.
one more episode
No.
in a Western show. And like you're saying, we do have Western stuff that has romance in it. We do. But it's not usually, when we're talking about like a series, the romance, like you said, is the back seat. The romance isn't the story.
No.
And if it is a series with an ongoing romance, and we're getting farther away from it now, which I think is good. But like the Western model is always like milk another season out of it, milk another season out of it. And the only way to do that with a romance is to pull the couple apart, bring them back together, pull the couple, always put something in between them, where what you get with something like Crash Landing on You, which I think all of us were stunned by, was here's this full and complete romance where you are satisfied in the end and it's done. Are you left wanting more? Absolutely, because we love these characters, but also we don't want that ending spoiled. Like don't give me another season just so you can pull them apart and bring them back together again, because it was done so perfectly. And that was so eye-opening, I think, to all three of us.
Yeah, you got this. I mean, it was like Crash Landing on You hit like the romance beats that we know, and the entire plot, like the romance was the focus, but yet there was still a beautiful full plot around it.
Right, we have a B story that's secondary to the romance.
Yeah, but I mean, even like the whole world was meant to prop up the romance. Yep. And again, it felt like I was reading a romance book, and I just was shooketh that was what we got. And I would say one thing that one way that you guys got me to watch it, I had been into K-pop.
That was me. I don't know how I saw it. I don't know if it was like on Facebook, you had posted something.
And I think that's why you messaged me.
Yeah, I messaged you and I was like, so you're into K-pop, I'm into K-dramas. Let's swap.
Yeah. And I was like, all right. But so, cause I had been, during the pandemic, I had gone full into like NCT. Full into NCT. Like, I don't. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, because I think still even in Slack, your icon is an NCT member.
Is Taeyong, yeah, from NCT. I went full. I mean, full NCT in the pandemic because they were producing a lot of content during the pandemic, and they were like this like math like. And if you understand the world of NCT, the K-pop group, it's a lot. But I mean, I can still name every single member, and it's like 22 members from various groups. But anyway, so yes, I was like full into it. So it wasn't like hard. And I was already watching a massive amount of subtitled content, like a massive amount, because I was watching all of their like programming. Okay. So it's not a leap then for you to be like, hey, you want to watch a K-drama? I was like, sure, that seems like the natural progression of what I should be doing next with my life. You know what I mean? And it did, it worked. And I feel like I think that happens to a lot of people. You get into K-pop and then into K-dramas, or you're into K-dramas, get into K-pop, because, how can you, it's
the Hallyu wave.
Yeah. How can you only surf one half of the Hallyu wave?
Right. So this is all just to say that was our gateway K-drama. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're saying every new person to K-dramas has to start with Crash Landing on You, but it's where we started. But the reason why we made our list that we did tonight is that maybe the romance isn't your thing. We've got a lot more suggestions other than just romance. But for us, this hit our sweet spot to the extent where it brought about this podcast, and we're grateful for it.
Yeah. And you might have buddies who are like, you know what, romance isn't for me. And, we listen and we judge that too. But like, yeah, you want to like watch something else with them. And so, yeah, there you go.
All right. So we're going to kind of give basically like if you like this, try this, based on kind of like genre or like type of show. So I don't know why I started with this when I wrote the script, but the first one is if you like tragic love, what should you try? So what that means is These do not have the traditional ending that you would get for a genre romance. So we
Right.
would call them a love story, but we're also saying that there's probably a little bit of tragedy at the end where you will be crying. And so, yeah, so if you like tragic love and you're okay without a traditional happily ever after, what should you try?
And so, I mean, I will say this. I'm going to probably mention it more than once, but like the OG, like he even talks about it being sad love is Goblin or Guardian, the lonely and great god. And just to give like a little hook for what the drama is, if you don't know it, we've got Kim Shin, who is our 900-plus-year-old goblin. All he wants to do is finally die, but he can't because he has this invisible sword in his chest that can only be removed by the goblin's bride. And a young woman is born and escapes death 2 times before meeting Kim Shin, and it turns out that she is the goblin's bride. And of course, what happens is he falls for her and isn't sure he wants to die anymore. And it's a great setup because while their whole sort of like guardianship, which then turns to love stories happening, you've got a Grim Reaper who keeps trying to reap her because she was supposed to die in the womb. And she got saved and then she escaped death again. And so he's like, every 9 years, I'm coming for you. And then there ends up being a great romance between the Reaper and the Goblin. So just laughing at the noises surrounding Leah right now.
I heard that revving.
So I tossed out Goblin for that one and also a more recent one because Goblin's from like 2017, 2018.
And Goblin's a romance. I'm going to say just for listeners, it is a romance.
It's a sad romance. Yes.
Mhm.
So it's tragic love, but it is a romance, meaning that it follows some conventions of what you think a romance should be. One that is not is Way Back Love.
Yeah.
And Way Back Love we will call a love story. It is tragic love. You know from the very beginning that it's going to be tragic because our heroine is a young college student who, trigger warning, is on the verge of taking her own life. She's thinking about taking her own life. And who comes to her door is a Grim Reaper who is there to reap her. And the Grim Reaper is her first love from high school who died tragically. And he's like, I'm here a week before you are going to take your life. And I'm here to basically like help you cross everything off your bucket list. It's short. It is 8 episodes, 6 episodes. It's 6.
It's very short.
6. It's very
Yeah.
short. And it is, if you like super sad stuff that ends hopeful, though, I will say that, like you'll be bereft at the end, but it still ends hopeful. If you like super sad stuff like that and want to see a really great story get packed into really few episodes, then I say Way Back Love. And one of the questions that I had posed that like we should ask ourselves about this is would we rewatch these? I have rewatched Goblin. I have rewatched scenes from Goblin. In Way Back Love, I would 100% rewatch, just newer, so I haven't had a chance to yet.
Okay, so for mine, I'll say right away, I don't think I would rewatch these, but that's because tragic love isn't usually something I rewatch. So both of my suggestions are tragic, but they are so good. So the first one is Mr. Plankton. Mr. Plankton is about a man who is terminal. He's going to die. And he kidnaps his ex-girlfriend from her wedding and goes on a road trip with her. Mr. Plankton affected me so deeply. I still get chills thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an absolutely beautiful drama about trying no matter what, loving no matter what, and realizing that like you have an impact, even if it's small, it has ripple effects and you matter. And then also Dear Hongrong. Dear Hongrong is a Saeguk that has weird elements. Dear Hong Rong. It's crazy how much I love this drama. EJ Ook killed me in this drama. It's about a man who returns as the long lost brother to um the daughter of a merchant. And he's not who he says he is. There is an amazing love story that I felt very deeply. There is crying cave sex, and it's tragic, but it is amazing. So both of those to me are just really good examples of like that kind of tragic love that like tears your heart out, and that's why I suggest them for this.
All right, let me pull up my notes on this one. I jotted a few things down. So I chose The Red Sleeve. I consider it tragic love because it centers on kind of like with the tension of what happens when like you have to kind of choose between like love and personal freedom. So the two main characters genuinely care for each other, but it's like the circumstances aren't conducive, right? So we have one is a king bound by duty, and the other is a court lady who values her independence. And so their relationship, while funny sometimes, tender sometimes, is often very like just incredibly painful. Heron doesn't want to be defined by her proximity to power, and he can't separate his love from the authority he holds. Like at the end of the day, he's a king. He's just not going to not be the king. And I think what like deepens the story is this underpinning that it's based on the lives of real historical figures. And so that kind of like, not that fiction isn't powerful on its own, of course it is. But, you know, when you know that you're watching something that more or less kind of happened, you're watching like a fictionalized version of it, you know, it also makes it like that extra little bit poignant of like, oof.
Okay.
And when
you
she was
hear Carl,
she was
like,
muting because there
accelerate?
was a car.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're not done. I'm sorry. Okay, keep going.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay. I thought
wasn't
you were
sure if
muting
you
because you were
were
waiting for the car.
too. I wasn't sure if you were waiting for the car or if you were done. So,
I mean, okay, I guess I can finish. So, and again, this isn't a show that has like a single devastating kind of like twist moment. I would say that it like kind of builds its heartbreak slowly, which is how I want to experience it. I don't actually like a sudden devastating twist very much. I prefer kind of a slow, inexorable glacier grind of sadness if I'm going to do it.
yeah.
Do you know what I just realized that we should probably share is where people can find these dramas?
Oh, yeah, but we'd have to go back through and look them up. People
And
Well,
they'll
the ones that I know I'm going to say. So both of the ones that
Okay.
I already mentioned, Way Back Love and Goblin, those are both on Viki. And so if anybody is listening who is brand new to K-dramas and doesn't know what Viki is a streaming service that is all Asian television. So we're talking, you know, Korea, Thailand, China, anything that you can, well, not anything, but a lot of stuff gets published on Viki. And so my two so far have been from Viki.
Okay, so now if you like rom-coms, because K-dramas do rom-coms well, but I would say one thing about K-dramas to me that I always love is like I just feel like they're rom-coms sometimes like they're funny and then they like just really sock you in the heart. And I think that's some of the ones we'll be suggesting.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I grabbed two and they're both like enemies to lovers. So apparently that's what I like in my rom-coms.
Yeah.
So, and they both have the word love. So if you aren't sure if they're romances, they're romances. The first one is Love to Hate You, and the second one is Love Scout. Love to Hate You is on Netflix, and Love to Hate You, one of the things off the bat that I love about Love to Hate You, because one thing that you'll notice in K-dramas is a lot of romances our leads are usually in their 20s, sometimes in their 30s, less often late 30s, early 40s. And so Love to Hate You, because I am an Ajumma myself, has older people in their late 30s, early 40s. And Love to Hate You is an enemies to lovers romance between an actor hero who is filming an action movie with his ex who wants him back. but she's not the heroine. The heroine is a female stunt person who's teaching him how to do like on-screen fighting because he fights like an actor and she fights like a person because she beats people up. Um, and the conflict between them is she there's a misconception that she has about him that is founded in reality. But she has prejudged him very wrongly, and because of that, um, wants to make him pay. And so part of the fun is in teaching him how to fight. She's also like beating the crap out of him. Um, it's so fun. Also a shorter drama. I think this one was maybe 12 episodes and just loads of fun. Like I would say pretty light on conflict. So if you want a rom-com that is like light on the drama, then this is a good one for you. Same thing I'd say with Love Scout. Love Scout is a female head of a recruiting company. I guess she's a recruiter, right? She's a headhunter and she is the CEO of her company called Peoples. Um, and the romance is with a man who ends up getting hired as her assistant after she kind of inadvertently gets him fired by trying to steal a manager from his office. So they start as adversaries, and then he ends up having to be her assistant. He's also a single dad with like a daughter in first grade, and he does her hair and he color codes calendars. And if you're looking for some, competency porn, highly recommend Love Scout. And Love Scout is on Viki.
So I'm gonna recommend Business Proposal because when Business Proposal came out, it really took, I think, the K-drama kind of like we loved this. Everyone was watching Business Proposal. It's such a fun rom-com. The leads are gorgeous. It feels modern. It feels sexy. But it's about a woman who goes on a blind date and doesn't realize it's with her boss. So then at the workplace, and she screws up the blind date on purpose. Like she doesn't want to,
Because she's going for her friend. She's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then when she's like working, she wants to like hide because she like really made an ass out of herself in this blind date. And like other things happen, obviously. It's very funny. My daughter actually just binged it. Loved it. So, and then I'm also going to recommend I Am Not a Robot. Why? Because I haven't recommended it in a while, and I am Not a Robot #1 fangirl. I also think it's very funny.
It is.
It's so funny. And I often talk about the scenes that made me cry in I Am Not a Robot just because they affected me so deeply. But I Am Not a Robot is also hysterical. It's very funny. It is about a touch-averse recluse, millionaire recluse who essentially is like is testing out this robot. Okay. But the makers of the robot screw up the robot like the day before the test. And so they get this woman to pretend to be a robot. And hilarity ensues. He starts to like fall for this woman who he thinks is a robot, but she's not a robot. And so he's like conflicted because he's like, why am I in love with a robot? And it's like, we're watching it going, well, you're in love with the robot because it's not a robot. And it's incredible and funny.
So good. Every time we talk about it, I want to rewatch it.
I know. I will say I'm Not a Robot is one. I have rewatched it. But I rewatch like certain scenes. But that is one that I rewatch a lot.
I think I Am Not a Robot is my favorite K-drama rom-com, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
I think so too.
It's my favorite. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about another favorite. But I felt like this kind of just hits the classic of what makes a rom-com great. And so I went with Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha.
100%.
So
Yep.
I think that Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha leads into a bunch of beloved rom-com tropes. So you've got this classic opposites attract setup. There's like a city girl meets a country boy, uptight meets easygoing. There's this like bickering to love pipeline, which I I think I've said before that like there's a fine line between like, you know, banter is fun, bickering can get grating. And I feel like they ride this really well because we just talked about chemistry. And I think this bickering all kind of leads into chemistry, which my definition of chemistry was
It is what it is, Leah. You're outside. It's
fine. It's not a big deal.
is that it makes people more interesting when you put them together. Like to me, my definition of chemistry is combine two people and like you get that reaction that makes them more interesting.
Yeah.
And then you also have this like small town that's also its own character, basically filled with like nosy but lovable neighbors that like meddle in everyone's business. The hero's got this like mysterious hidden past, and he's also this like jack of all trades. She's the career woman who's like learning, like kind of like in a Hallmark sense, like learning there's more to life than her ambition. So it gives me what like because Hallmarks are never. I'm just not a Hallmark girly. I'm happy for those people that works for. It is not for me, but this gives me a lot of what I like in Hallmark, like what I think there is to like in Hallmark. It just gives it to me in a way that like feels more palatable to me. There's a love triangle that gives a little bit of tension. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And I feel like there's like a healing trope where like the leads both carry emotional baggage, but they help each other grow. So I think when you want a rom-com, for me, I don't want it just to be zany and silly. Like I want there to be some like real heart underpinning it. And there can be some pathos. There can be some sadness in it, even if you're laughing overall and like the overall thrust of the drama is light. I like there to be a little bit of heart there. And so Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha gives me that.
So good.
I know. I agree. I agree with you. I like the idea that you said it is sort of like a K-drama version of Hallmark. And Hallmarks don't work for me either. And again, I respect people that love like we all have different things we love. But I would say that I Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha though hits me where like I wish Hallmark movies would. I guess I would say it that way. Okay, if you like action, what do you recommend? Because K-dramas have it.
So I'm going to recommend Bad and Crazy, which I just looked it up because when we watched it, it was on Netflix. It is no longer on Netflix. It is now on Prime and iQIYI, which is interesting. Bad and Crazy it's a drama. I'm going to try and talk about this drama without spoiling this drama because it's so fun. And if you like action with romance, this is the drama for you. If you like action with a cop with questionable morals, this with a bromance, this is for you. It is. I'm trying to think of how to two very, very beautiful men having a very beautiful bromance while trying to figure out a mystery, kind of what's going on. There's, and you have like kind of a morally gray hero in Lee Dong-wook's character, and then you have the absolute like ray of sunshine in Wee Ha-jun's character. So I don't know what else to say because it's one of those dramas where there will be a twist, and the twist comes early-ish, but it's fun when you get to see that twist. But I'm just gonna say like lots of action, lots of like riding motorcycles like downstairs, beating people up with stuff in a like big box store, anything you can find on the shelf.
Yeah, it's like fighting with props.
It's very
like
it's very creative fighting.
Yeah, very inventive ways to fight.
And not super bloody, because I'm your girl who doesn't like the bloody stuff. And so it is fun action that's only mildly bloody. And just, it's super fun. Like I don't know what I thought going into this drama. It was just one that Megan had recommended. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And we decided to do it for the podcast. I came out of this drama with having it be like probably one of my top 10 dramas. And I was not expecting that.
So good. I do watch a lot of action K-dramas. Sometimes I feel are like bloody for the sake of being bloody. Where again, the subtitles just say squelching too much.
That's the worst word ever.
Yeah, so sometimes I watch them and I'm like, so I'm recommending ones that I think are stellar, like out of that like the plotting, the acting, and that
But there
don't
might be
feel
some
like
squelching still.
there's some squelching, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it's meant to be a shock value. Yes, I'm looking at Mercy for None. Okay. So the first one is Bloodhounds. I said before we started record. So Bloodhounds is on Netflix, the first season. The second season is coming out April 3rd. I don't know when this podcast is going out, so it will either be like right before it, I think. Um, I cannot tell you how excited I am for Bloodhounds 2. So Bloodhounds is about it's one of the best romances. Udo Wan and Lee Sang-yi star in it. They are amazing together. They are boxers who get mixed up with a loan shark and are just two underdogs against a gang. I mean, it's like just it's so great. And they're so likable. Their characters are so likable. You can't not root for these two. So I'm really stoked for season 2. Season 2, I think the villain is Rain, which is going to be very cool. And then the second one I'm recommending is My Name, Han So-hee. So we have a female lead in Han So-hee. Her action scenes are insane. She is so good. And this is like a revenge thriller. So she basically spends her whole life seeking revenge for the murder of her father. And it's where An Bo-hyun solidified himself as like number one in my heart is his role in My Name.
All right. So I decided to go. So, okay. I don't know if I'd say famously. I don't know how famous I am to make this statement, but why not? My podcast. And I famously am not like a big action girly. Like it's just not normally like my bread and butter, but, I thought about it a little bit. And so I'm going to go with one that like, look, I'd say it's like action with like substance and kind of like like social criticism. And so I'm going with DP, which I don't think either of you watched DP.
No.
So, DP isn't like your typical action, but it's quite gritty, and I think it's really a grounded drama in that it follows a young soldier who's assigned to what's called the Deserters Pursuit Unit, so DP, and they are tasked with tracking down soldiers who've gone AWOL. And so it kind of starts a little bit procedural, but it also reminds me a little bit of like Move to Heaven, and that like like you're unpacking people's like stories, and so the cases peel back the reason these men ran away. So it could be bullying, it could be abuse, it could be hazing, it could be just like that military culture and like the toxicity of it. And so the action is kind of like these tense chases and confrontations rather than like flashy fight scenes. And I think you really just understand and sympathize so much with the people being hunted down. So I would say it's less of a adrenaline rush and more of a gut punch. But I'm just going to be honest, I don't watch a lot of just kind of like pure action movies. But this one does have action in it. It's also coming with like pathos and empathy.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like a vignette drama like that.
Yeah, I think you might like. I mean, it's quite powerful.
Yeah. I've heard great things.
Okay. And then because look, this is like a very common romance I would say element that we all search out. So if you like alpha male heroes, what should you try?
So I chose an alpha hero from something we've already talked about, but he's one of my favorites, and it's Captain Ree from Crash Landing on You. And we've talked about our definitions for alpha heroes on here as well versus like an alpha hole, because there's a difference. So we're not looking for me for this particular one. I'm not sharing an alpha who's an asshole. I'm sharing an alpha who is the guy who's like, he's in charge. He's going to take care of it. He's going to take care of you. So just to give you some examples, because we love a good alpha in a romance, Captain Ree. So I think the one thing we neglected to like really say when we talked about Crash Landing on You is like, what's the hook? So Crash Landing on You, we've got Yoon Suri, who is an heiress. and she is testing out some new like sports clothing for her company, and she's doing it by paragliding. And she paraglides and gets caught up in a tornado, and the tornado drops her in North Korea, where we've got Captain Ri Jong Hyuk, who is a North Korean soldier, and finds her dangling in a tree like by her parachute. Um, so we have a bit of a combative relationship because she's the spoiled heiress who, basically like tries to boss him around, but he is also the alpha hero. Like he is the head of his army unit. He takes care of all his little army ducklings, and they are a part of the grander story, all the people in his unit. But then he also takes care of Yoon Suri in many different ways, while she's there, kind of, hiding so that she's not, captured by the government and, who knows what. And he protects her and he takes care of her. And he goes out of his way to do a lot of things for her throughout the entire drama that I will not spoil because it's something that you have to see for yourself. But up until like literally the very last episode, the way that Captain Reed takes charge of everything in his life and takes charge of this romance in a very, very um, warm and endearing way that made us all cry.
Mhm. Yeah, so when we talk about alpha males, we are talking about the ones who take care of their people with the fanny pack with crackers. Like this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about alpha holes. We are talking about men who take care of their pack. That's
Like
what
if he
we're talking
takes
about.
you to Disneyland, he's going to have your snacks.
Yeah. So I chose Fight for My Way because Park Seo-joon's character, Dongman, he is an alpha to me in this. Is he a little bit of like a himbo?
Yes.
Yes, but he's still an alpha. He takes care of his people. The way he reacts to Kim Ji-won's character is just so hot. He is a fighter. He is going to defend his friends, his girlfriend. And so, but it's a friends to lovers story, by the way, Fight for My Way. And sometimes I like forget about it because I watched it. It was like one of the first dramas I watched, and that's a travesty because it's amazing.
So I did Happiness.
It's a good one.
And I
Yes.
thought this one because I have always just loved the idea of the true alpha. Alpha is somebody who's got the fanny pack with the snacks, and just the idea of like is going to take care of their people, is going to look after them. And I don't know if there's much more alpha sexy that can happen than a man who is going to protect the people he cares about with a baseball bat against our like zombies, basically.
Yeah.
And so, I just think that it's a zombie romance. It's kind of this like forced proximity idea of the outbreak is in a tower. And so these people are like trapped in like a residential tower that's cordoned off from the rest of Seoul and basically like contained. And then, the fun twist that isn't, I don't think, a huge spoiler is that, because every zombie has its own flavor. In this case, the predicament is that zombies can like basically like lapse into zombieism and then go back to normal. So I could be like ready to eat you as a zombie, and then like my flare's over and I'm like me again. And you're like, well, do I fucking kill you or do I like let you live chained up in a room somewhere? So like there's conundrums that happen, but it's, oh my God, how did I just blinked on his name. Help me. Oh my
Park
God.
Hyun-sik.
And so it's Park Hyun-sik, who is
Beautiful.
a win in the visual department. Just kind of doing some of his best work. Honestly, I think this is my favorite role of his that I've seen. And is just he's alpha in a way that like makes me want to curl up on his lap like a little kitten and purr and be like, take care of me, daddy.
He's so hot in this because part of it too is that he treats like the female lead with respect, and he'll let her take a lead role, but you never feel like he's like meek or weak. He just feels so secure in himself and
I
who
was just gonna
he
say
is.
he's comfortable in his masculinity.
Yeah, he's comfortable with his masculinity and he respects her so much. And to me, that's alpha and hot. And he has an amazing role where like the female lead's getting kidnapped and he does like a full like leap over the hood of a car and like point the gun at the enemy. Like it's fantastic. I fully agree. That's a great suggestion.
And he is a former baseball player turned like special unit, like
Oh yeah, I forgot about
detective. So
that.
like
You're right, he
there's so
is.
much hot about it. Yeah.
So just him swinging that baseball bat at zombies
Yeah.
is so good. Okay, and if you like twisty thrillers, what should you try?
So Megan and I were laughing before Leah got on because Leah was working on her homework, I think, sitting outside the library. And Leah, you typed your name into my answer.
So it says Flower of Fleevel with Leah and the Fleevel.
So Flower of Fleevel is actually Flower of Evil. And whenever we bring up thrillers, I talk about this one. And the hook for this is we have our hero who is a married man with a wife who is a police detective. They have an adorable young daughter, and he's like a metalsmith, right? Like he makes jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
On the outside, great little nuclear family. Come to find out that he is hiding that he is a psychopath, or else he thinks he's a psychopath. You see him like practicing facial expressions in the mirror, and ways to, seem quote unquote normal in front of his wife and daughter. And he's been like living this lie for years. And the drama opens with these murders that are happening that for reasons implicate his past. And I don't want to give too much else away, but he decides that he needs to figure out what's going on here because he has a connection to it. And what we, the viewer, don't know is he the bad guy? Is he the one committing these murders? Or is he actually trying to figure out who is committing these murders? And I love, love, love an unreliable narrator. And that's basically what we've got here with Flower of Evil. And it's Lee Joon-gi. And this is one of those dramas where I stayed up until all hours of the night to finish it because I had to see how it ended. Lost a lot of sleep for it and would do it again.
Okay, and I'm going to choose Blackout. I've watched a lot of twisty K-drama thrillers, and I would say Blackout is the twistiest. Blackout is about a man who went to prison for 10 years for the murder of his girlfriend and his friend, but he vows that he didn't do it. And when he's released from prison, he's intent on the girls' bodies were never found. So when he's released from prison, he's intent on finding the girls' bodies and either proving him like he doesn't remember that night. That's why it's called Blackout. So he either basically wants to prove that he did do it. I think he's willing to entertain that option, or he wants to prove that he didn't do it. And oh man, talk about small town secrets. That's what this is about.
I went with a little bit of low hanging fruit here for this one, but again, I don't watch a lot of thrillers, and this one just like jumped out at me. As look, I it's a basic answer, and I don't care. I'm a basic girl, and it's Squid Game. I love it, and I think that yeah. Look, that's it. I'm just gonna say like I'm not gonna even hedge it. I'm not gonna hedge why I like it. I do. I think I think it's just the problem is that sometimes when something gets so popular, it becomes like a victim of its own success,
Right.
right? It becomes like, but from the costuming to the games to the characters, there were a lot of times that I was genuinely surprised in it, or I wasn't sure where it was going to go. There were times that, I did, but I would say that overall I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed kind of the being on the edge of my seat. I enjoyed I think for me, it was just a show where I often would put myself into the drama. Like, what would I do in this? And that's a fun way to kind of engage with content. Like, how would I show up in this? Um, when would I be willing to fork a person in the throat? Um, and I would. Like, there were times where I was like, I definitely think that was a justifiable moment that I feel like I could have reached into myself and found that space 1,000%.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just if if anyone's hesitant to see it because they're like it's too popular, liberate yourself from that. It is an enjoyable and dare I say, like, I think it's yeah, I feel like it gets downplayed a lot because it got too popular, and I do think it's warranted to be so popular.
I think it
Yeah.
also might be daunting because there's 3 seasons now. Like, would you say, could you watch Squid Game season 1 and be done?
I mean, yes, I think that knowing most likely if you enjoyed it and you finished the end of season 1, you might be like, WTF, is it gonna be any good? But I'm gonna keep going because, like, it leaves you with enough question,
Mhm.
and I do think it's worth keeping. I think it's worth to keep going. I do think one might be, and it's funny because I think one in many ways is the most successful of them, but I like some of the characters quite a lot in later ones that it's hard for me to say. Like, I think it's a bet the first one I think is like the best holistic drama, but there's characters that I liked so much in later dramas that you wouldn't have got, or later seasons that you wouldn't have
Mhm.
gotten.
Agreed. Okay. And if you like queer love, what can you try?
So, look, I'm the one on the podcast who hasn't watched a lot of queer romances, but you guys reeled me in with this one, Semantic Errors. That's why I think it's a good gateway if you haven't tried any queer romance before. And Semantic Error is a college romance, a college male romance, and it's enemies to lovers, and it's a really fun hook. You've got your very studious hero who is part of a group project that is basically the group project that everybody needs to do to pretty much graduate. And he basically tattles on all the people in his group that didn't do their part. And one of them is the other hero who basically finds out why he has to like retake a course because he failed this course, and basically vows to make the student who turned him in make his life hell. Um, and it's not, I mean, it's not, it's psychological torment, but in a funny way, like buying up all of his favorite coffee from the vending machine, sitting next to him in class, dressed in all red, distracting him, like just it's fun stuff. And then when the romance does happen, it's absolutely delightful. So it's a fun enemies to lovers, not too much angst, I would say, just mostly fun and games and romance and psychological torment. The good kind.
Yeah, I went with Let Free the Curse of Taekwondo. I mean, Leah and I are on record. This is the best BL I think that Korea has ever done. One of the best dramas they've ever done, period. I think it's the best comp to heated rivalry that you're gonna get when it comes
Yes.
to the I would say when it comes to terms of like the yearning, the age gap, the conflict, it's very good between them. Uh in Let Free the Curse of Taekwondo, it's about a boy in high school who lives with his pretty abusive taekwondo teacher father, and another boy arrives to take he's kind of like a live-in to take taekwondo lessons from his father, and they as high schoolers like discover love together, and it's beautiful and sweet. But then something happens and they break apart for like 10 years, and the reuniting is so good. I loved the like contrast of how they were as like high schoolers to how they were as full-grown men. And their reunion and coming back together was just so angst-ridden, like so angsty. I felt it in the pit of my stomach, and I love it. So yeah, that's Let Free the Curse of Taekwondo.
And yeah, that is my favorite. So I echo that, but I wanted to participate and come up with one. So one that we really enjoyed that we didn't talk about, and I can't remember Mamie is what I was going to do. Amy, I don't know if you saw this one. I can't remember.
No,
I don't.
I
You
didn't, but
did.
I remember you guys talking about it.
Yeah, we
Okay.
love this one. Yeah.
Yeah, The Eighth Sense. And I just don't think that we've talked about it like we have other ones. And I think that
Right.
is a mistake because I do think it's quite good. And I think
Yeah.
if you were like me to check out a Korean BL, this is a very good example.
Agreed.
So it's slow burn. There is kind of an anxious and guarded freshman and more of a laid back surfer type. The cinematography does a lot of heavy lifting here. There's lots of golden hour type of sunlight. There's lots of ocean waves. The trope I would say is kind of like a sunshine boy melting ice kind of thing. Like that's kind of the vibes. There's a lot of healing through connection, and there's no importantly for I think a lot of queer romance, I want to just point out there's no trauma porn. So there is healing and there is damage, but you're not really having trauma porn. You're not having a tragic ending. This
Right.
is a romance, and I think it's just two people kind of falling for each other, and it's short, and it's short. I think it's just visually gorgeous, and I think it's quite powerful for the length it is. It packs a punch above its length.
Yeah, all three of these are romances of the
Yes.
queer
Oh,
love
yeah.
ones we
Total
mentioned.
romances. Yep.
Yeah, I want to make sure that's clear because that's
Can
a
I
good
just?
point.
I want to toss in just an honorary mention because I totally forgot about it and then it just hit me. It was Color Rush.
We love color.
I
Oh my
know
God.
we all love Color Rush so much. And so
Shut
Color
Season
Rush.
one. We like season one.
We like
one.
season one.
We like.
Yeah. Color Rush is another BL South Korean romance, and just one of the really cool things about it is one of the characters he sees in mono, so he sees the world in grayscale until he meets a probe who is the one who can trigger his color rush, like he can see color when he's with this other guy. And so there's that little bit of it, a tiny sort of tiny little sort of supernatural element to it, but really it's just they make each other see the world differently, and it's such a lovely story. Oh, I love it.
I can't believe we forgot about that one.
I know.
So, if you want an epic, long saga, you want it to consume your life for days and days, what should you watch?
It could be weeks, but the way that I did this one was days.
It should be weeks if you're a normal human.
It should be weeks, but this was back when I was really into walking on the treadmill, and I would just stay on the treadmill for 90 minutes while
right
watching. So I'm going with Alchemy of Souls. Alchemy of Souls is one of my top dramas, and it is 30 episodes, 30 full hour to sometimes hour plus episodes. And there's a part 1 and a part 2. Part 1 ends on a cliffhanger, so you have to go on to part 2. Part 1 is 20 episodes, then you get the part 2, which is 10. But it is just the hook is we have Lee Jae-hyuk as a mage who can't access his powers. So this is fantasy.
Mhm.
He's a mage who can't access his powers. He is there's some questionable stuff about his parentage and whether or not he's royal. Because there's also this thing that's going on where there's this special stone that lets people swap souls into other bodies. And so we have our heroine is an assassin whose soul is hiding in another person's body. And while the assassin Naksu is hiding in Mudok's body, she can't access her powers. But she can teach Jung-uk, who's Lee Jae-hyuk's character, she can teach him possibly how to access his. So it's a romance. It's a forbidden romance. She's an assassin. They shouldn't be together. She's hiding. there's magic, there's palace intrigue, there is a fantastic crown prince with a pet turtle. There's
Oh my God.
so much. Oh, and then there's there's the other mages. There's the friend group. There's the found family. There's so much great in this drama, and it is epic. Watch it, Alchemy of Souls, Netflix.
Agreed. Like, just full stop. So I'm gonna recommend for an epic long saga, My Dearest. So this was hard because I actually do, as much as I don't often like delve into long sagas, like when I do, I know they like grip me. And I think that's part of why I often don't dig into them, is because I just don't have the time to like lose my soul for like a whole week. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know myself and I just like lose it. But My Dearest was one of those where I just lost it. So My Dearest is kind of like a Saeguk Korean version of Gone with the Wind. So you kind of have this like spoiled rich girl whose life implodes when war breaks out, essentially. And season 1 of My Dearest is probably some of the best Korean television I've ever seen in my life. It's so good. I know Leah agrees with me. Was season 2 as good? No. Was it still worth watching? Yes. It's still worth watching. And season 1 is so good it took my breath away. So, and you will lose yourself and you will love and hate every minute of it.
I'm half considering watching it. I told you last week. All of a sudden, I started getting fed reels of My Dearest, and I was like entranced just by the reels.
I really think you should, because also like just the cinematography and the acting, like there's just so much that is good about My Dearest.
I mean, look, you know how I feel, and I really do like it. I think you would actually really like it, Amy. It feels like a very Amy hero, like one of the Amiest heroes.
Absolutely true. You would love him. You would love him.
Okay.
To me, I'm like, what are you waiting for, basically?
Yeah.
But look, I am going with the Go to Goats, which is controversial because love it. Think it's cuckoo Cocoa Pops, think it's overwrought, think that it's full of plot holes. You are right. All of those are true. I don't care. Moon Lovers, Scarlet Heart, Ryo is an epic, sprawling saga. And I think it is genre defining, dare I say. And so it drops a modern day woman back into the Goryeo dynasty, where she gets tangled up in a house of princes, a hot spring of princes, dare I say, that are all vying for the throne. So at its center is this like slow burn, devastating romance with a dangerous and misunderstood prince who is scarred literally and emotionally. If you are a Phantom of the Opera bitch, you're gonna like what they're selling you here. You will. And I am a fan of that. I mean, I was raised on my mom cleaning the house in the 80s to the soundtrack of Phantom of the Opera. So it's like catnip to me, and this is a hero that's giving Phantom. It's not a sweet love story. There's palace politics. There is family betrayal. There is incest light. And there's the creeping dread of watching someone you love become someone that you're like, WTF. There's love triangles that are very good. There is murder. There is sacrifice. And I think that, the cast is stacked. Amazing cast. It is it's got an amazing soundtrack. So the soundtrack is legendary, and I feel like I don't want to say more. I don't want to spoil it. I think that it's one of those things where it's like, is it good? Probably not. Is it great? Yes. And I think that somebody put that in Patreon, actually. I don't have the, like, I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared, so I don't have it to credit you. I am sorry, listener. But it was basically like, you know what? I'm going to pull it up because it was a very good quote. All the best things are great and awful at the same time. Like K-pop styling, Taco Bell, and yes, Moon Lovers. And you know what? I'm gonna
That's
give
awesome.
it to you. That was Kate D. And yes, how I feel
Yes.
about Taco Bell, especially, is how I feel about Moon Lovers. Is it
That's
good?
amazing.
No, it's empirically not good. But
Is
is
it
it
great?
great? And do I enjoy it? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
That's great. It's a great thing, like a
Moon
great
Lovers,
soundbite.
the Taco Bell of K drama.
Oh God. Uh,
All right, let's
okay.
finish
And
it
for
up.
for the last one, so what's like an OG drama, kind of from like say the early aughts, or at least, definitely pre-2020.
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
What's an OG drama that you recommend?
I'm going with the 2007 Coffee Prince, which is a 20 episode romance rom-com. I mean, there's some heavier stuff in it, but a lot of it is rom-com. Between Choi Han Kyul, played by Gong Yoo, who is a chaebol who doesn't want to take responsibility and be part of the family fortune, and he opens up a coffee shop that only his shtick for the coffee shop is it's all male servers. And he hires Go Eun Chan, who he thinks is a boy, but Eun Chan is, I guess she does identify as a female. We think of her as a non-binary character. But she is posing as a boy for reasons. And they develop this friendship / brotherhood that turns into romantic love. And we see Han Kyul basically grappling with not understanding why he's attracted to this person because he thinks that he is heterosexual. And we have Eun Chan, who is falling for Han Kyul but can't tell Han Kyul who she really is because she thinks she'll lose the job and she is the breadwinner for her family. And it is so good. I've been talking about this drama a lot in past weeks, and it does make me want to rewatch it.
So I'm gonna recommend Healer, which actually I looked it up. The first episode date is 2014. It feels like it's older than
It
that.
does feel older.
I don't know why, but it does. But it's not. It doesn't matter. It is still, to me, it feels like a classic K-drama. Obviously, I'm still like a newer K-drama watcher,
Yes.
relatively, but Healer stars Ji Chang-wook and Park Min-young. It is classic Ji Chang-wook, where he's this like dreamy, yearning virgin who is like a night delivery
Night messenger,
man,
yeah.
a night messenger, but he's also like a fighter, and
Lots of
course,
parkour.
lots of parkour. There's a childhood connection. There's past family secrets, and it kind of like all converges. And so there's like action elements where he has to protect Park Min-young's character. He loves her. There's so many romantic moments. And it's just, to me, it feels classic. To me, it feels like if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen Healer, I don't know what to say.
Okay, I'm going for a drama that I want to actually rewatch because I liked it so much and neither of you watched it, which is Fated to Love You. So Fated to Love You is a more classic, it's an older drama, and the premise is farce, truly. It's a timid, people-pleasing woman and an arrogant chaebol end up in a one night accidental sexing. So they, through a series of unfortunate events, they have sex with each other. And it's not unconsenting. They just both think they're having sex with someone else. And she gets pregnant. But what makes the show, I think, clever and stays with me is that this is a ridiculous setup, but it kind of like then dismantles the characters because it puts them into forced proximity. They basically get married for the baby. And she spent her whole life making herself small for other people. And he has spent his life kind of performing this act of confidence. So at the beginning, you're like, this laugh is crazy. Like, it's so grating. It's so like over the top. And at first I'm like, is this just acting choices I don't like? They just make him so that like, you're almost like, ugh, but it's all like masking this like super vulnerable little like marshmallow that like exists on the inside. And so this like pregnancy, which leads to this contract marriage, creates this forced proximity where something genuine begins to grow with them, between them. And without getting into spoilers, about halfway through the the show, there's kind of an emotional rug that gets pulled out, and you move from kind of farcical to angst, but kind of just like authentic character reckoning and growth. And it starts to just really pack like a lot of emotional weight. And I guess I just didn't see it coming, because I was kind of kicking back to like, this is goofy. Like, two people accidentally think they're fucking each other, like thinking they're fucking each other's partners, and it's the wrong person. She's pregnant. This is silly. It's fun though, and kind of weird, and like a little bit like sexy, edgy, which is what I think they leaned into more. You know, like when you see movies or dramas that were kind of like set during that time, kind of like Coffee Prince. I feel like they were like more sexually like open and like clear that like, you know, people sometimes do these things or whatever. But then, yeah, you just like have this like pivot to where all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm like going on this emotional journey with these people I did not expect to go on. And I believe it. And I want to be on this journey with them. And so, yeah, what happens when these people who never felt worthy of love, two separate people who manifested it in two separate ways, like how they pretend it doesn't affect them, and then how do they go on this journey together? I don't know. I think I really like, it's kind of like, it reminds me of like It's Okay, That's Love too. Like, there were a couple like of dramas that I've seen that have kind of from this time
Yeah.
that I feel like they weren't afraid to have people be not perfect and to get messy and to get a little freaky. And I like it.
This one's also 2014. So 2014 is a good year for dramas.
It was a good year. It really was, because I feel like there's a lot that are from that time period.
Well, this was a big list that I
I know.
hope helped anybody who might be looking to dip their toes, or anybody who might be looking to try out a new genre. And like Leah said in the beginning, you think that we're giving all the wrong recommendations, then you tell us what people should watch for their
Yeah.
first drama.
Drop it in the comments, and then people can check that out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
annyeong.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!
Oh.